Hello, everybody. It is Halloween season, so I'm going to talk about some horror movies that I love. I've picked 20. There's no Jaws on the list, even though I see all these lists and they always have Jaws on it. I think Jaws is a great movie. For me, it's not a horror movie. Also, another movie I love, Alien. I always see on these lists of top horror movies. For me, again, it's not a horror movie. It's a sci-fi movie. It's got horror aspects, but it's not a horror movie for me. So, in no order, let's start things off with Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I remember when I was young, my friend said to me, "Oh, you know Halloween 3, Michael Myers isn't in it." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "I'm not watching that." Because, you want Michael Myers. And it was only as I got older, I I said I'm going to check this movie out, and I loved it. I think it's a cool movie. It's got a really cool score. Originally, Nigel Neal, who wrote the Quatermass, he he wrote like 60% of this movie, but he didn't want to be credited, so his name is not on the credits anywhere. But I love all the kind of pagan stuff, Irish pagan stuff in the movie. I'm not gonna give spoilers away for movies, so definitely check it out. The Devil Rides Out. This is a Hammer horror movie. I love those Hammer horror movies. I think they're great. Obviously, not every one of them are great. This is an interesting Hammer horror movie, which is basically about a devil worshipping cult. It's cool to see Christopher Lee as a good guy. Prince of Darkness. This is a Carpenter movie. I think it's a really interesting movie. I think it's a really interesting concept. I don't want to get into the spoilers too much, but I really like the movie. The score is kind of cool. It kind of reminds me of the vibe of the score is very They Live, which Carpenter did as well, obviously. But it's Donald Pleasance in it, even Alice Cooper's in it. Yeah, check it out. Friday the 13th, Jason Lives. When I was a kid, myself and my brother, we would rent movies from the video store. And I remember when we got the first Friday the 13th, we were like thinking, we watched the whole movie and kept waiting for Jason to come. We're like, where the fuck is Jason? And then, spoiler alert, comes at the end, which scared the shit out of me, that scene. But Jason Lives, it's always a toss-up for me between Jason Lives and the final chapter. I kind of think for me, they're both kind of on par, but I just chose Jason Lives because I really like that opening scene. It's like, I love the way it's kind of shot with the lightning and stuff. It reminds me of those kind of, it's like Frankenstein, basically. The lightning hits Jason and then he comes back to life. Yeah, it's cool. Like that scene when he's on top of the fucking camper van is it's fucking badass, man. Yeah, quality. The Exorcist. I remember being a teenager and I stayed up really late at night because I seen The Exorcist was on. I'm not sure, did the movie scare me or not. I know there's obviously the one scene with that when the face appears. That scare, I was like, whoa. But I'm not sure that it really scared me. I watched it again recently and it didn't scare me. But I still think it's one of the best horror movies, and I still think it's actually just one of the best movies of all time, regardless of genre. I mean, there's not much to say about it that hasn't been said. It's just a classic horror movie. Nightmare on Elm Street. When I was young and I first seen this, I remember I put my teddy bears at the bottom of my bed because I was like, fuck that, I don't want Freddy Krueger getting me. Because it's The genius of the movie is that most movies, horror movies you watch them at nighttime. So you watch them before you go to bed. And it's about a character who gets you in your dreams. So when you're watching this, you're watching it before you go to bed, and then you get into bed and you're like, oh shit, there's that uneasiness about it. And when I was a kid, I was scared shitless of it. First one is probably the best. Though two I do like, not two, the movie two, but I like two other ones I really like is the Dream Warriors and A New Nightmare. I think A New Nightmare is really interesting too. Phantasm. This is a mad movie. The whole the whole franchise is mad. It's a mad movie. The Tall Man is a really cool villain in the movies. The score is cool. It's mad. Like, it's a mad movie. Like, that ball is just crazy. Halloween, another Carpenter movie. I mean, like The Exorcist, there's not much you can say about these movies because everything's been said about them. They're classic movies. I think one thing about Halloween is that the movie and the music go hand in hand. Like, the score that Carpenter did for the movie is great. It works so perfectly with the movie. Again, just a classic. The Changeling, George C. Scott. He plays this composer who moves into a haunted house in Seattle after his family die in a car accident while he's on the phone, in a phone box. It's a kind of interesting take on the haunted house. They do an interesting angle, and George C. Scott is quality. Legion Exorcist 3. So George C. Scott again in a movie turns in a great performance. There's two different versions of this movie. There's the theatrical one, and then there's the director's cut. I prefer the director's cut, the William Peter Blatty version, which is he obviously was the author of The Exorcist and of Legion. It's got a really cool jump scare in the movie that's really well done. Check out the director's cut. Actually, what both of them, watch, but just I prefer I prefer Legion because you can tell that the movie studio got involved with the movie because of the ending of the theatrical version. Let's just put it that way. The Omen, another movie I watched when I was young and scared me. I do feel a bit sad when I watch these movies now when I'm older. They don't really scare me, but I still love them. I still love the vibe of them. I still love the atmosphere of them. Again, this movie has just an iconic score from Jerry Goldsmith. In the Mouth of Madness, this is the final part of Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy. It's definitely the most surreal Carpenter movie, and it's got a lot of Lovecraft vibe running through the movie. There's actually a Lovecraft book called At the Mountains of Madness. Sam Neill does a really cool performance in this movie. Another Carpenter movie, The Fog. I remember watching this when I was a kid, and I was watching it in my grandparents' hotel. And about halfway through the movie, I look out. There's a big window, and I look out the window, and I just see this fog appearing at the window, and I'm like, "Oh, Jesus Christ!" Yeah. This is the first part of the Apocalypse trilogy by Carpenter. The practical effects in this movie are fucking brilliant. That's what I hate about modern movies. This terrible CGI, just shit. I'm putting my hand here because there's a mirror next to me because the next movie is The Candyman. Yeah. I always feel uneasy with mirrors, and mirrors and horror movies kind of go hand in hand. Um, Totally scared the fucking shit out of me when I was younger. Tony Todd's performance is brilliant, and the score by Philip Glass is excellent. There's a scene at the end that even I watched it maybe a few years ago, and I was like, oh, it's still kind of scared me a little bit. But yeah. Salem's Lot, which is a Stephen King adaptation. I'm talking about the miniseries, not that new fucking shit remake. I don't know why they bother doing remakes, but I think what's great about the movie is it's like 3 hours long, so you're not trying to cram a book into an hour and a half. It's not a scary it's not a scary movie or miniseries, but it just got a cool vibe. I know some people don't like the look of the vampire, but I think it's cool. It's very kind of Nosferatu-esque. And I think David Soul does a really good performance. Continuing with another Stephen King adaptation. I know King hated what Kubrick did with the movie, but it's different than the book, but I think it's cool. There is like this theory that the movie is about Kubrick's involvement in faking the moon landing, but you know, the opening scene is fucking amazing with the music. Just it sets this ominous vibe that continues throughout the movie. Halloween 4. I love Halloween 4. I think it was a cool way to take the franchise in a different direction. Obviously, they jumped the shark when they went into all that bullshit, but I think it was a cool movie. One of the main downfalls of the movie is the mask is horrendous. Universal monster movies. These movies are great. They're not scary. I know it's a bit of a cheat because there's so many of them, but I adore these movies, from The Creature from the Black Lagoon to Dracula. Just awesome vibes in those movies. I love the way they're shot. Just cool. Halloween, the 2018 version. It's the most recent horror movie on my list. I love the idea that this is a continuation from the original Halloween. There's that cool scene at the start where the reporter has Michael's mask and he's kind of shouting at him and the dogs are all screaming, and then it cuts to the opening sequence with the music, with Carpenter's music. I think it's fucking cool. I think it would have been a great way to actually end Halloween, but obviously they had to keep it going and made that horrendous fucking Halloween ends. Fucking shite. So yeah, there are 20 movies I love. There's way more movies I could have put in, but I said I put 20. So do let me know any movies, your people's lists, and what movies they dig. I might not have seen some of them, so that would be cool. Alright, take it easy.